mind. Fuck it, just tell them the truth. Tell them no man can take nothing from you. Tell them your skin is too thick and you'll die about this. They don't possess the spirit you do. Tell them your city is counting.
Hello, my friend Scott here, representing Youth Potential. Now today is the 1st of March 2019, and some of you may be aware that today is Self-Injury Awareness Day. If you're not aware, well, there you go, now you know. So Self-Injury Awareness Day is a day where we, the community of people who struggle with mental health problems and self-harm, or people that have done it in the past, or just general supporters, kind of spread things across social media. That's generally where it goes, to make the world more aware of self-harm. And I think that's really good. You know, we have a lot of these days to do with mental health and other sorts of illnesses, including, you know, physical health problems like Breast Cancer Awareness Day. And sometimes these things have not just a day but a week. Yeah, it's just a really good way for people all over the world with different backgrounds to kind of just get the message out there through social media, and just try and make everyone more aware. And because obviously awareness creates kind of knowledge, and knowledge eventually leads to power. So the more we're kind of talking about, for example, Self-Injury Awareness Day, self-injury, the more people are going to know about it and eventually, hopefully, understand it. But with that being said, there's something that has always kind of, I don't know if bothered me is the right term, but it's just something that I think about quite a lot. And with all these awareness days, and I'm not knocking any of them, they're absolutely fantastic. But there's one thing that I really wish that would be, I don't know, would happen more often. And that's not just spreading awareness, but people doing more to kind of contribute towards, you know, the improvement of people that do struggle with self-harm. And what I mean by that is that it's great that we're making people aware, but what are we really doing about it? You know, what is actually happening? It's, you know, we're going on social media, we're seeing all these kind of, you know, people are posting Self-Injury Awareness Day this, or whatever. Yeah, you know, we're seeing it, but what's really be done? It's great that we all know about it, but what is being done, you know? And it's these kinds of actions that there isn't enough of. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are people out there that are doing great work, you know. There are people, you know, professionals that give counselling to people that struggle with self-harm. There's groups which people can go to where people can talk to each other about their feelings, or like, for example, I just started a kind of skills group recently, which will help me manage my emotions, which should help me help prevent me from self-harming. You know, and then there's people on social media that have, you know, made it their own mission to do things to give something back to the world. You know, like for example, I do my YouTube channel, as you obviously well know watching this. I've written a book about my experiences, and I'm currently writing a book which is called 101 Distraction Techniques. I just think, as much as we're raising awareness, there needs to be more of people doing stuff to give back to people that are struggling. And that's what I really want to urge you guys to do. You know, you don't need to write a book. You don't need to go and get a psychology degree to be able to give something back to someone that struggles with self-injury, self-harm, or whatever. Okay, sometimes just, if you've got a friend or a relative and you know that that's something that they struggle with, just make more effort to, like, you know, contact them, communicate with them more often. They'll appreciate it, I can assure you. You know, and if you can see them more often, they'll appreciate that more. I know if you're someone that struggles with self-harm, it's easy to be withdrawn, but when you get a friend that calls you up or messages you or whatever and asks how you're doing, or come on, let's go and meet up for a bit, let's hang out for a bit, you know, it's nice, you know, to be reminded that people do really care about you. So yeah, that's what I want to urge. I want to urge some action. Okay, raising awareness is one thing, and that's absolutely fantastic if you're doing that, but actually helping someone or helping many of people, that's what makes the real difference. Okay, guys. So yeah, please just think about it. If you're somebody who wants to raise awareness, that's fantastic. But if you can think of something that you can do to help someone that's struggling with self-harm, and then you actually do it, then hats off to you. That's absolutely amazing. That's really, really good, and you're a good person for doing that. It's not easy to help people with mental health problems, especially if you're not a professional or you haven't had any experience, but everyone has the capacity to help someone that's struggling with self-harm, okay? And don't think that you can't for 1 minute help someone. You can, and you'll find a way. Yeah, there isn't ever enough help, and there can't be too much help. So please help someone, okay? Do what you can, find a way of doing it, and just absolutely try, okay? And that person that needs your help, as much as they won't admit it, will appreciate it, okay? Cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is recovery. Now, I've been thinking, pondering the idea of recovery for quite a while now. As you guys may know, I in my teenage years, between the age of 15 and 20, I really struggled with depression, self-harm, anxiety, etc., etc. And then for 7 years, after that, I started building my life back up, and life was just amazing. I wasn't depressed ever, didn't self-harm for like 7 years, and it was absolutely amazing. And then I relapsed at the back end of 2017, and then things just went okay. Over the last few months, well, longer than that, things have gotten much better. They've improved, but I'm not fully recovered. And it's made me think, I recovered for those 7 years, and then I got straight back into hurting myself again and struggling with my mental health. And it just made me think, is recovery real? Is that actually something that can be aimed for? Because it seems that, I know I have, and I'm sure other people have the capacity to relapse. So then, does that really make recovery real? Or is it just a case of, you've been struck with mental illness and you just learn to manage it better and better as time goes on? Sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. Yeah, and that's made me think about recovery quite a lot. So I've now come to the conclusion, I know there's going to be people that disagree with me, it's absolutely fine, but this is based upon my own experiences and observations of myself. My conclusion now is that I don't really believe in recovery, okay? Just hear me out. I don't believe in recovery because I think that once you are struck with mental illness, you're always going to be struck with the capacity to relapse. And I think in turn that means that you haven't really fully recovered. But saying that, I'm not trying to put a negative, like a downer on this and say that if you're struggling with mental illness, you shouldn't aim to get better and better. But what I am saying is that I think the illusion of recovery is quite sort of false and abstract in a way. So what I mean by this is, when I relapsed, I didn't think that I would recover fully ever again. So instead, over time, once I figured this out, I realised that actually the best thing to do to improve my mental state and make me a lot more stable isn't to have recovery in the back of my mind, have this false image or this abstract image that I just couldn't comprehend of recovery. Don't have that in my head. What it's all about is learning to manage your symptoms, and it's also about understanding yourself. So you learn to understand yourself, your behaviours and all that kind of thing. And then you learn to manage your symptoms. And that's taken me over a year to be able to do that, through therapies and skills and support groups and research on the internet. But throughout this whole time, I've not been aiming for recovery. And it's definitely better than when I tried aiming for recovery many, many years ago. That took me 5 years. Whereas this has just taken me a year to get to a point where I'm a lot more stable. I want to be alive. I'm way more happier than I used to be. And I'm working on my goals, and that's good. That's good enough for me. I don't have this pressure of, I've got to recover, I've got to stop self-harming. I don't have that. Putting that pressure on yourself just makes it even more difficult. I just take each day at a time. I have some goals that I want to achieve. I do the things that I want to do, the things that make me happy. And yeah, I don't feel that pressure. I don't have this blurry, abstract image of what recovery looks like anymore. I just know what I want to achieve, and I do everything that I can to try and achieve that, okay? And I'm so much calmer, and I feel good about myself. So yeah, you can disagree with that all you want, but I'm sorry, that is my opinion. I think when you struggle with mental health, it's not about aiming for recovery. It's about understanding yourself, learning about yourself, and learning to manage your symptoms. And it's gonna be easier to do that than it is gonna be to aim for recovery. You know, recovery seems like light years away to most people, and it seems impossible to achieve. And you'll never achieve it because you already have that belief that you're gonna get it. But instead, if you just think, look, I want to understand myself better, I want to find myself, I want to understand my symptoms and practice on, you know, in ways of distracting myself to be able to handle these symptoms, that is going to be far more beneficial to your well-being than thinking, I'm going to aim for recovery, because that is fucking hard. Okay? Anyway, guys, thank you very much. I really hope that this video had some sort of impact on you. To be honest, I completely forgot it was Self-Injury Awareness Day today. It wasn't until I went on Instagram that I remember, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to script a video, I'm just going to go up and make one. So anyway, guys, thank you very much. All the best. Bye.